نصلي على محمد وآل محمد.
صلى على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد سيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين وحجة رب العالمين المنتجب في الميثاق المصطفى في الضلال المطهر من كل آفة البرية من كل عيب المؤمل للنجاة المرتجى للشفاعة المفوض إليه دين الله. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أخته العقيلة عقيلة الطالبيين زينب الكبرى وأخيه أبا الفضل العباس ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الإمام جعفر بن محمد الصادق عليه أفضل الصلاة والسلام: إن الله تبارك وتعالى اطلع على الأرض فاختارنا واختار لنا شيعة ينصروننا ويفرحون لفرحنا ويحزنون لحزننا ويبذلون أموالهم وأنفسهم فينا أولئك منا وإلينا. When it comes to a person like Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha and remembering her, when you utter her name and you say Zainab, immediately with Zainab comes a couple of words. You mention with Zainab Hussein. You mention with Zainab Karbala. You mention with Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha all of those tragedies, all of those misfortunes of the people of Kisa, Ahl al-Kisa. Every one of the people of Kisa, all five of them, she was in the time of their tragedies, and she is known as al-Masa'ib. Alongside with that, and what complements that is that she is al-Masa'ib, but she is a mountain of patience. She's known for her patience. She's known for her steadfastness. She's known for her strong character that this world never witnessed before. A person, a lady that inherited from her grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam one thing, from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, her father, another, and from her mother, Lady Fatima al-Zahra salamullahi alayha, Sayyidati Nisa al-Alameen, another thing. And I want to mention these three inheritance that she inherited. One, from her grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. She inherited from her grandfather al-thabat wal-istiqamah, and that is what? Steadfastness. She inherited that. Even though she sees all of these tragedies coming and striking her and her family members, she stood in the court of Yazid ibn Muawiyah, in the court of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, as if she was the one who was victorious, not the opposite of that. When the Mal'un asked her, كيف رأيتي صنع الله بك وبأخيك? How did you find what happened to you and to your brother Imam al-Hussein? What did she say? She said those words that until today and until the day that the Imam of our time, Imam al-Hujjah alayhi afdalu salati wassalam, comes, has echoed throughout history, and that was ما رأيت إلا Jamila. You all know that whoever comes and gets a strike from a tragedy remembers those words. After you saw your brother Imam al-Hussein, Sayyid al-Shuhada, being killed, massacred, and you saw your family members, your sons, your other brothers, the companions of your brother being killed, annihilated in front of you, and you also witnessed with your eyes the burning of the tents, the running of the children, the running of the woman. You say this, ma ra'aytu illa jamila, I didn't see anything but beauty. And she turns the pages on him and she says to him, whatever you have done and whatever they have done, you all too will come on the day of judgment and you both will be judged. And let's see who's going to be victorious. فَكَلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ يَبْنَ Marjana. What is that? May your mother sit and weep for you. In the court of Ibn Ziyad, a taghiya, a tyrant, she says to him, may your mother sit and cry for your death. Who are you to speak with me? Who are you? This shows that this woman, she was a woman of thabat, of istiqamah, her steadfastness, even when they were about to depart Karbala. And we mention these words from Lady Zainab every time we enter the month of Muharram, every time we are near the days of Arba'in, and we say, look at how millions of people are marching toward Karbala, and they're all uttering, they're all crying loud, Labbaik ya Hussein. It's because of what she said to Imam Zain al-Abidin before they departed Karbala. And she saw him وكان نفسه تخرج من بدنه وكان يجود بنفسه. He was so sick, he was so fragile, and he was about to surrender his soul. What does she say to him? She says to him, and even though she's a woman that saw all of this masa'ib, she saw all of it, she says to him, you see these bodies laying down on the plains of Karbala? Do you see them? Yes, I see them. And he said to her, what did he say? He said, oh Amma, aren't we Muslims? They at least wash the bodies, they put a coffin on them, they prepare them for burial. We are at least a Muslim. She says to him, ينصبون لهذا الطف علما لقبر أبيك سيد الشهداء. And this has echoed throughout history. لا يدرس أثره ولا يعفو رسمه على كرور الليالي والأيام ولا يجتهدن أئمة الكفر وأشياع الضلالة في محوه وتطميسه فلا يزداد أثره إلا ظهورا وأمره إلا علوا. This is the words from Lady Zainab, and she says, I'm narrating to you from your grandfather Rasulullah, from your grandfather Amir al-Mu'mineen. I'm telling you that this movement of your father Imam al-Hussein will last. And she was the one who broadcasted all of this, taking it from one city to the other. And that's the issue with Lady Zainab. Even though we are here to celebrate her birth, Zinatul Ab, the adornment of her father, but we can't help ourselves but to remember her. And when we remember her, we remember Karbala. We remember what she did on the day of Ashura. We remember her going from one tent to the other. We remember her in Kufa. We remember her in Sham. And that brings us to the second point. And her inheritance from her father. What was her inheritance from Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib? Al-fasahata wal-balagha. Her eloquency. How she, with just showing her finger to them as be quiet, every one of them was silent. They were cheering, they were playing the drums, they were playing the rings, and they were the bells, they were happy, cheerful. And she said to them, quiet down, it's enough. Everyone was quiet. And they say this, they mention this, that her eloquency was the eloquency of her father Amir al-Mu'mineen. وَلَمْ أَرَ خُفْرَةً أنطق منها كأنها تفرغ عن لسان أبيها أمير المؤمنين. As if Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib is reading in her ears and she's just repeating what Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying to her. But it was her, she was the one talking. She was the one saying to them, what did you do with my brother Hussein in Karbala, and your betrayal, to the point that Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi afdalus salati was salam, and that shows that A'immatul Huda alayhim afdalus salati was salam were sent as rahma lil alameen. A person who is shackled, a person who is bleeding, he's a captive, he says to his auntie, Ya amma anti bihamdillah alimah غير معلمة وفهمة غير مفهمة. You know this knowledge, you know it, you know all of it, and you know it's enough for them. We don't want them to lose hope. They might come back to the right path, they might repent, there might be a chance for not them, maybe their grandchildren. But it's enough, ya Amma, it's enough. Because they started to cry, hit their heads. One of them was holding his beard and he was crying, and his tears was coming down on his cheek and his beard, and he was saying, we are all in hellfire, we are all in the inferno. But because of Imam Zayn al-Abidin, she stopped right there and they understood what she was saying. Because of her, that was the movement of Sulaiman ibn Surad al-Khuza'i, Harakat al-Tawabin. Because of her, it was Harakat al-Mukhtar. Because of her, because she was the one who spoke directly to the people of the Kufa. To the Kufans, she was the one who spoke to them. And that sparked this revolution one after the other. And it was her that she started all of that. And that was her inheritance from her father Amir al-Mu'mineen, her eloquency. And the last one, and I conclude with that, her inheritance from her mother, Lady Fatima al-Zahra, Sayyid Nisa al-Alameen. What did she inherit from her mother Fatima al-Zahra? What was that? Shaja'. Today we live in a world, unfortunately, if you go turn on the TV, they're talking about this, the women's rights, and the feminists come and talk about the women's right. And if you come and you dissect this topic and you say to them, tell me about the women's right, they tell you, well, women equal pay. Women, they have to have the right to vote. Women, they have the right to education. Women have the right to own a property. If you go and read through feminism and why feminism was all, founded. Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha in Kufa, in the time of her father Khilafah, in the time, wa alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. In that time, Lady Zainab was teaching tafsir al-Quran and she was teaching ahkam. Lady Zainab. And they're talking about what? They're talking about what? Women's right to education. She was doing that a long time ago. And that's one. When it comes to women's right, they talk about the women have the right to take off their scarves because this is their right. Go look deep down into what women's right is. Not because one person or two, they come out and they say our freedom is to show more skin and take off our scarf. This is our right. Look at the people, they are icons. They are what? They are role models that we learn from them. And when it comes to this point, Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha, she is truly a role model. Standing in front of thousands of coward men, the ones that killed her brother, and she utters and she says such and such in her speech, that shows you the woman's right to education. Learning from who? From the right source. Learning from the right source. And that is Ahl al-Bayt alayhim afdalus salati wassalam. Because today you come and see freedom for women. Why? Because this woman and that woman, they want to take their scarves off. But this is not the freedom for women. That's not freedom for women. That's actually the opposite of it. This is like open market. Let them come out with their scarves off and that's it. And they come and they talk about the woman's right to do such and such, as if Islam did not address this 1,000 odd years ago. Even her mother, Lady Fatima al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, in her khutbah al-Fadakiyya, she was the one who taught her daughter, Lady Zainab. And in her khutbah, Lady Fatima al-Zahra, when she brought down all of those so-called companions and questioned the very existence of this khilafah of theirs, تشربون الطرق وتقتاتون القد والورق أذل خاسئين تخافون أن يتخطفكم الناس من حولكم فأنقذكم الله تبارك وتعالى بأبي محمد. اللهم صل على. Who does she learn from? From her mother, eloquency. From her father, eloquency, knowledge. All of that is driven from that right source. Then go and talk about freedom for women. Unfortunately, this is a life and the years we live in the end of time, Akhir zaman, before the reappearance of our Imam alayhi afdalus salati wassalam, and it will get worse before it becomes better. And a person has to really recite this dua al-ghariq, and I always mention this in my speeches, recite dua al-ghariq. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi afdalus salati wassalam narrates this dua, saying that my grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, in the end of time, recite dua al-ghariq. Dua al-Ghariq, the one who's drowning, what does he want? He wants someone to rescue him, to rescue her. And it's a small dua, it's a short dua. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Muqallib al-Qulub, Thabbit qalbi ala dinik. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the honor of this lady, Lady Zainab salamullahi alayha, al-Masa'ib, the woman that is known for her patience, the mountain of patience of this lady, alayha afdalus salati wassalam, that we stay on the right path. Allahumma la taj'alna ila anfusina tarfata aynin abada. Allahumma ij'al awaqib umurina khayra. هذا والحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
أحسنتم سيدنا، جزاك الله خير، طيب الله أنفاسك، حفظكم الله.